welcome back. I'm Jenvey and welcome to my studio. And today I'm going to demonstrate drawing tiger's fur in graphite. And it's a continuation of the tiger's eye. And the two pencils I'm using are Staedtler Mars Lumograph, a 2B and a 3B. And I use a kneadable eraser, and this is a Hush's hot press watercolour paper, and I have a soft brush to brush the debris off. And tiger's eye is a good example of fur or tiger because we've got some really nice values, black stripes and against some white fur. So I'm going to begin in this area here. He's got white fur across the top here and then a really black stripe with a little bit of the orangey ochre fur coming in here. So I would start with a light layer of 2B just to fill in the stripe here. And I always start with a 2B just to give myself a base layer. And I'm using directional strokes, just watching the way the fur lies across his face. And this is only light pressure. I'm using basically a little elliptical stroke. And the edges are very soft at this stage. Just filling in the shape. I'm not quite going right to the edge at the moment because he's got some loose little hairs there that I'll come back in and pop in afterwards. And this one here is also black. It sort of starts about here. Actually, it starts past his pupil, so it's about, let's see, about there. And again, directional strokes. If the first layer is fairly light like this, it can be erased a bit more easily. The fur here just goes up a little bit, so we're heading up that way. The furs change, around their heads in particular, their fur changes direction quite quickly, so you've always got to be very observant about the direction of the fur. This one here I'm just going to do lightly, sort of working back to front really, but I've got a little hand bridge here that slides across my work so I don't touch the paper. I'm just going to fill this one in a little bit lighter because it's got a lot of the orange fur in it. And just sort of roughly get the shape. Just not looking quite right. Just along this edge here, it's a little bit darker. down here, coming off this eye piece, this is quite dark here, so I'm just going to fill that in at the moment till we get a few values happening. Now this fur is very short here, and gingery orange, it's quite dark, so I'll just give it a bit of a solid shape. I miss a little bit of the paper here and there just to leave some slightly lighter areas. Okay, now my pencil started fairly sharp, it's still fairly sharp. I'll just put this bit of a black patch in there. So I'm just going to do another, we'll work on this black stripe. I'm just going to do another layer. So this is now medium pressure. And because I've already got a layer down, this sits really nicely on top. I just rotate my pencil occasionally to keep the point nice and sharp. Sometimes I don't because I need a flatter point. I'll just put in a little edge there because that's showing the direction of the fur. Modify that shape a little bit better. So we've got a little dip there. Okay, so now this will be a little bit thicker. Now I'm just going to come in with this orange fur here. And it's just covering at this stage. It sort of meets up with this one here. It's very light, so we just put that in, following the direction of the fur and the shape of the head. Changes direction up here and starts to go up this way. And the fur on this side as well. So it's the stripes sort of sitting a little bit. They're a little bit indented in parts of the body, and this one is. So this fur's about this tone. Now I'll go to my 3B and just darken this. So just a layer of medium pressure to get this nice and black. You can see it's only a few layers and it can be quite black already. And I just stay off the edge a little bit with the 3B so that there's a soft transition here. Back in with the 2B. That's actually curling in a little bit too much there. Just dab that out. Reshape that one a little bit, looks to be a little bit thicker here. Back in with the 3B, just to darken it in the middle. And then for the white, it's not exactly, I think our brightest highlights the highlight in the eye. So this white, I'm going to use the 2B and just soften the edge of this eye where there's a few little shadow marks, and very, very lightly just indicate a few little shadow areas here. So that doesn't look so white. It just starts to change colour up here. It's got a little bit of colour off the edge of that black stripe. Through here he's quite a bit darker, so I'll do another layer so that we can see the difference with this area here to soften that. Another layer with a 2B just to indicate this darker, sort of quite a reddy orange. And coming back down here, just lighter again. just darken that edge because that area off there is quite dark. This little bit's lighter. There's a little light sort of ochre patch there, and then we come round to a little bit more pressure because this area here is a little bit darker. If you lay your values in roughly quite early, it helps give a bit of anatomy and form quite early. Just off this spot it's a bit lighter again, so I'll just do one layer. Just going to reduce that area there, define, go back in with the 3B and make this spot just a little bit darker. There, that's just a quick demo of just some values of the fur, and then you can just add a few little details, touch it up to indicate just those hairs. You've got to be very mindful of the edges as always, and these little details without putting in too much detail in each stripe. These little edges will tell the viewer the type of fur that we're looking at. So just a bit here and there. And also their direction will guide the shape of the stripe. And again, you come back in. Actually, I might go over that with a 2B. So we've got 2 layers of 2B, a layer of 3B, and I'll just go in with a bit of firmer pressure with the 2B again, and it helps sort of push that 3B in a bit and gets it really quite nice and black without the pencil being too soft. I think when I jump up to the softer pencils like the 4B and the 5B, I find them a little bit too soft. But everyone, you do what suits you with your pencils. This is just my way of working with this particular paper. And there's just a quick demo of putting in some fur.